Hello, I'm Frank McShane with Square Peg Consulting at the Whiteboard. I'm a supply chain cash guide, and these are the components of the business-to-business supply chain as I see it. And there are opportunities to generate more cash in every part of this process. Let me show you what I mean. Hello. This session is going to focus on the people and teams aspect of our business-to-business supply chain. And in particular, it's going to focus on the importance of followers in our organization. There's a lot of time and effort spent on leaders and the importance of leadership, which is important. Got to have somebody providing direction, coming up with ideas, coming up with new things, new challenges, etc. But we also want to take a look at the importance of following and execution of predetermined plans and processes and procedures. So if we look at work, there's a demand for decisions. Sometimes it's on the high side. In other work, there's not really a whole lot of demand for independent decision making, right? You're doing what you're told, you're doing what's designed to be done, you're simply executing a predetermined process and procedure. Communication, sometimes there's a high demand for that. Communicating, talking with, influencing, engaging other people. Other times it's really a quiet work by yourself, focused on your work, getting things done, thinking things through, being careful and thoughtful about what you're doing. There's pace involved in work, where it's a fast pace, a high level of pace, quick sense of urgency, changing things all the time, new priorities, variety. Or on the low side, it's really that steady, routine, repetitive nature of work, following a process over and over again, step at a time, type of thing. And then in work, there's different amounts of structure in work. On the high side, this is where work is pretty clearly outlined, and the procedures are clear, the techniques are clear, the technology is in place, etc. So we got to execute really well against that. On the low side, then things are pretty much a gray area, and you need some innovation and some inventiveness to work through those kinds of problems and situations and come up with different ways of handling things. So, like I said, there's a lot of attention paid to leaders, but I would suggest to you that a vast majority of the work in the work world comes out on the low side of decision making, right? It's accepting direction, following direction from others, following a plan that someone else has created beforehand. There's a lower level of need for communication. It's working well with your teammates, etc. But you're not out selling and influencing and engaging with people. That's not the purpose of the job. It's really more focus and concentration and thinking about what you're doing. And the pace in work is often, in a lot of work, is very routine and repetitive, right? It's the same thing, and executing well over and over and over again, and being able to deal with that and not get burned out with the routine and repetition. And then most work is also pretty well structured. Someone else has engineered the way we're going to do this, the way we're going to execute it. The machines are set up a certain way to run. The technology is in place. We've just got to follow and execute that plan. And so a pattern like that, looks something like this. Whereas the independent leader profile is probably more on the higher side of decision making and communications and faster pace and low structure, right? So you get a pattern that looks something like that. And my caution to you is these people demand and receive a lot of attention and recognition and support, etc., in our culture, whereas these people tend to quietly work and don't get much attention and support in many cases. And so, but they're the ones who are executing the plans that generate our cash. And so they need our attention, they need our support, they need training and clear expectations so they understand the structure, which is what they really want to do anyway. They want to follow and do a good job and follow those directions to the T. So they need that kind of support. They need somebody to reach out to them because they're quiet people. They're not going to speak up for themselves. In many cases, they'll suffer in silence. So you got to make sure you get in there and find out how they're doing. And they're looking for, like I said, clear expectations, encouragement. They like harmony in the workplace, like everybody to get along, those kinds of things. So it's really important to pay attention to that culture of the workers, the followers that you have in your business, because they're the ones who actually generate the cash. Thank you.